People often mistakenly say a full 360 when they really mean someone turning their behavior only the opposite way. When have you actually seen/done a full 360 in your life? Pre-GPS time. I drove up to a stop sign on a frontage road leading to an expressway on ramp. I was lost, not sure if I should turn left and get on the expressway or go back the way I came. I looked both ways and no one was coming. So I rolled through the stop sign and into the intersection while turning left, changed my mind halfway through the intersection and kept turning left until I was headed back from where I came. Changed my mind again, flipped a U-turn and rolled through the stop sign again, a full 360. Turned left again and drove up onto the expressway where the state trooper who'd been watching me the whole time immediately pulled me over. Trooper gets out of his car and says, "I just watched you run the same stop sign twice," and wrote me up for 2 moving violations. It wasn't one of my finer moments. An old friend. She got addicted to drugs and was homeless in her early 20s. Met a guy, got clean, had a couple kids and was doing amazingly well. Her and her husband got into an argument one night and she left the house in a fit of anger. She was found in a dealer's house a few days later, high as a kite. Her life devolved back into the drugs and homelessness. Her husband divorced her and has rose for him and the kids because on drugs. She's dangerous. It's really sad because every time she pops up and mentions getting clean, she has a bunch of family and friends who try to help her. Usually she lasts about 3 days before she's gone again. One by one, they've all given up. Last I heard she was in a facility in southern CA. Hopefully she gets help. My brother went from being a thief and a drug addict to holding a job and loaning me money when I needed it, and now he's on heroin and stole $130 from me, so he's right back where he started. Oh hey, my brother's done the same. Drugged up piece of shit, made it 13 times though. 4,680 is what he did, and I don't expect it to stop. My mom is working up to her 6th marriage. Every time she's never going to do that again and inevitably the cycle begins again. ETA, it's official, she just announced her engagement. How does someone even have time to get invested in someone to get to the marriage stage 6 times? A guy sold his house because he was tired of maintaining it and rented an apartment instead. Less than 2 years later, that same house was back on the market. He missed it so much that he bought it back, and for far more than he had sold it. If he just waited 2 years he could have sold it to himself for a huge profit. Had a friend who got into drugs, kept getting harder and harder stuff before doing heroin. He was hooked for years, lost his job, his house, his wife, his kid, his car, everything. Few years in, his daughter seeing him fucked up on the street and bursting into tears knocked some sense into him. He slowly but surely cleaned up his act, got a job at a shelter, got a tiny apartment and bike so he could get to work, got himself a girlfriend, started seeing his kids regularly, eventually got a bigger apartment with his girlfriend and they had a baby girl. 2 years later girlfriend caught him smoking pot while watching the baby, then she catches him straight up leaving the kid alone while he left the house, and finally she kicked him out when she found out he was using heroin again. He died of an overdose a year later. Even knowing the context of Ops question, I really wished for this to have a happy ending. Every day, shit, I have to get to work. Closes Reddit. Fuck, I'm bored. Opens Reddit. Co-worker married his wife. She cheated. They got divorced. He had to take a loan to pay her settlement. Before the loan was paid off, he remarried her. She cheated again, and he divorced her again. He pulled the full 540. I could never imagine the mindset of cheating on a spouse and then feeling like they owe you money to the point that they take out a loan. You just destroyed the person's personal and love life. Time to take the rest of what they have also. I broke up with my high school girlfriend right before leaving for basic training because she was bonkers. Then I got stationed close to home and married her. She was still bonkers. But now she's your bonkers. Thanks for clearing that off the market, Hoss. Well, one winter I was driving and I was going down a hill with a slight curve to the left. I hit a patch of ice and my pickup truck spun a perfect 360 and I ended up parallel with the guardrail. An oncoming driver witnessed this and stopped to make sure I was okay. I gave him a thumbs up and said like a glove. And that's the story of my legitimate 360. Anyone that gets back together with a bad ex. My first girlfriend and I got together and broke up and got back together again 4 times over the course of 2 years. My second girlfriend and I got together and broke up and got together again probably 10 times over the course of 4 years. I can't even begin to do the math on how many degrees that was. For those who are curious, I've been with my wife, who was neither the first nor second girlfriend, for 10 years now, 0 breakups. I moved out of my parents' house for a job in another state, and after a few years moved right back into my parents' house lol. I have since moved on, thankfully. Here's hoping that doesn't happen again. Going through a roundabout for the first time and not understanding what to do. After I got a D in a class in college and had to retake it, I said I'm going to really try the next time. Not going to skip homework and only read 20% of the textbook etc. I kept that up for maybe 2 weeks and then stopped caring again. I can't sustain that level of caring. I did get a B the second time though, no third retake. I got a habit of getting up early, before sunrise, and it had a great effect on me, but now I'm back to my old ways of going to sleep late and not wanting to get out of bed when I wake up, especially if I have to go to work. 1. Went into Faculty of Education. 2. After first year, decided I didn't want to be a teacher anymore. 3. Finished second year since I was already halfway done. 4. Turned around, 180 degrees. Worked for the federal government for 8 months. 5. Contract was up, so I took a teaching job, 180 degrees. Vowed it would be for only 1 year. 6. After 1 year, got out of there and left the country for a while, 180 degrees. 7. When I returned, I couldn't find another job as a civil servant, so I had to take another teaching job, 180 degrees. So I guess that's been 720 degrees really. Now I've been a teacher for 10 years. I guess I got used to it, because I quite like it now. Every time my brother does something bad he gets really apologetic for 5 minutes, then does it again. I hated myself for a while in high school. I thought no one liked me, I was awkward as hell and I wasn't good enough to study after high school. A year ago I got into a good community college course and started just being myself. I was working on projects I was happy with, everyone was nice to everyone, I was seeing a mentor on improving my self-esteem and I was just having a blast. Of course it didn't fix everything, but life was finally better. That only lasted the school year though. I've reverted back to old habits. I feel like everyone is silently judging me for not talking to them outside of classes. I'm getting panic attacks, looking at what I did wrong despite doing so much right. I'm even looking at universities again and considering a gap year because university is too good for me. I knew a guy who started off as a broke college student. He was studying law, but had a hobby with computers in the dial-up BB's days. He made a piece of business software that helped him with his legal studies, but soon a lot of students were using it. So he decided to market it, and got a lot of buyers. Within a few years, he ditched the college plans and was the CEO of a multi-million-dollar software company that had over 40 employees and big-name clients. Then he got bored running a company, and sold it for $3 million, I think. He got married, but it didn't work out, and he got seriously fucked over. He lost most of his assets, except for a condo, a car, and some of his furniture. He decided to finish his law degree, and graduated essentially as a broke college student, all within 8 years. I knew someone who weighed 350+ pounds in high school. Really nice guy but picked on and ignored because of his weight. Got into keto and intermittent fasting, built all this muscle, lost over half his body weight, got a girlfriend. He was totally unrecognizable. Started studying to become a personal trainer and weight loss / maintenance was his entire life. Lots of motivational quotes on his Facebook like if I did it, you can too. Then he loosened his keto / fasting requirements and celebrated eating dessert for the first time in 2 years. It was a big deal, candles and everything. Over 6 months I saw him getting chubbier, and thought it was nice that he was more relaxed since he had been very fixated, e.g., He used to have week-long periods of water fasting. But then a year later, you guessed it, back to his original weight and more. It was horrible. He's back to being shy/withdrawn, no girlfriend in photos anymore, no longer mentions personal training. I did a full 360 when I was in college. I cleaned up my eating habits and vegan working out. I actually got fit and was looking good. Then I went back to my old ways and stopped working out and started eating unhealthy again, lol. When my wife left me for someone who enjoys the outdoors, traveling, and doing exciting shit, I vowed I would change my homebody ways. I tried that. It was fun for maybe a month. Then I realized that it wasn't a shortcoming of mine that ended my marriage. Rather, it was a simple incompatibility that had developed between us. I will begrudge nobody their happiness, especially not someone I promised to make happy forever. Accepting who she is, and who I am, is how I can do that. Seeking her happiness, and setting me free, is how she has. I am a homebody. I like staying in, ordering in, having drinks with the neighbors. I love not having to justify that. I love not being dragged anywhere. I have ended up where I was before. A full 360. And I'm so much more comfortable now. Edit, this my most popular comment by far, they are few, and first Reddit award. Thank you deeply to all who read and comment. I hope you find happiness and peace with your lifestyle, whatever it may entail. And GT, I am a homebody. Reminds me of a tweet I saw a while back. Someone asked, how can anyone want to stay at home all the time? The response was, because I hate people and all my shit is there. I started playing less video games and stopped watching anime to have more time to improve myself and get more dates. Now I'm in a long-term relationship and my girlfriend keeps introducing me to new anime and playing PC games with me. Edit, to answer the few major kinds of responses I've gotten, no, you shouldn't drop your hobbies for your significant other. But if your hobbies keep you inside and prevent you from being active or socializing, then it's time to dial it back a little and find some other things you like doing as well. Also, while similar hobbies are important in a relationship, compatibility, communication, and respect are far more important. I've just gotten extra lucky to find all of those with one woman. But you have a girlfriend now, so it's more of a 270. Watched a family member that was addicted to meth get clean after a prison stint. He got married and they had 2 kids, adding to her own 2, doing really well and both regularly attending until one of the kids got lymphoma. He worked his ass off to provide for everyone, the travel expenses alone putting them in the red. Long story short, the wife waited until their kid was in remission to say she wanted a divorce. She'd been pocketing most of the money family sent to help with expenses, and, by the way, the youngest 2, one of which was the one with cancer, aren't actually his, and yes, DNA was tested. He was kicked out of the house, ended up crashing with an old drug buddy, and went back to making, selling, and using meth. He's currently in prison again. What really sucks is that he didn't let a single family member know about the situation. We're all hours, if not states away, or you could bet your ass we all would have found a way to support him. His wife can rot, though I really hope her family is stepping up for those kids. I once rearranged my living room in a full 360. I tried every combination, pushing the furniture in an entire circle in my living room, before ending up exactly where it started out. I have done that. It was a net win as the floor was then clean. So I hope your floor got clean.